Hello, my name is Jake Damari. I'm VP of Marketing and Sales at Excentium, and I would like to welcome you to CDP Strategy Readiness. Customer data platforms have become increasingly popular as companies look to leverage data to provide relevant customer journeys and make data available to other systems. In this webinar, Samantha Goebel, VP of Client Services at Excentium, and Dalton Allison, Digital Strategist at Excentium, will explore the topic of CDP and its evolution, trends and misconceptions, and what a CDP can do for your organization. This virtual event will be 45 minutes in duration with time for Q&A. The content will also be recorded and made available later for on-demand viewing. After the presentation, we will have time for questions as mentioned, so please enter them using the GoToWebinar interface. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to my friend and colleague, Sam.
Hi, everyone. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'd like to start by giving you a bit of background about Excentium for those of you who are not familiar with us just yet. So Excentium is a full-service digital consultancy. We were also honored with receiving Sitecore's Partner of the Year for the Americas last year. And our services are really full-ranging. As you can see, we do everything from UX, design, and digital strategy, through the technical development of integrated content and commerce websites. And finally, we offer cloud and DevOps services, as well as ongoing support for your digital needs. Now, because our work really focuses on providing business solutions that drive ROI, we do have a distinct point of view on the evolution and the role of CDP. You may be hearing about CDP. It's a very in the forefront type of a concept, but it has shifted. And so today we want to have Dalton Allison, who is our senior digital strategist, walk us through a primer on CDP. And hopefully that will give you some background as well as some practical tips, and finally some food for thought. So at this point, Dalton, I'll turn it over to you.
Hello, everyone. And before I start, I do want to take the time to thank you for joining us today. And as mentioned earlier, this webinar is, for those who are considering investing in a CDP or just interested in what all the hype is about. And today we're going to touch on a lot of different topics and a few use cases over the next 45 minutes or so. But our main goal here is to share some of the things you should be aware of and things you should keep in mind as you consider a CDP solution. To start, as many of you would agree, it goes without saying that CDPs have been growing rapidly in popularity over the last few years. B2C companies have been quicker than B2B firms to deploy CDPs, but a growing number of B2B and B2B2C companies are utilizing them. A 2019 survey, which was done pre-COVID, indicated 32% of B2B firms plan to deploy a CDP in the next 12 months. Considering many B2B and B2B2C firms utilize account-based marketing, firms have a great starting point with a large amount of first-party data about their leads and customers. Bringing in second and third-party data to the mix to provide a more holistic view of the account and the people associated to it, this brings a number of new opportunities to engage and develop customer journeys and enhance your customer's experience with your brand. So let's take a start at the beginning. What is a CDP? Now, this definition comes from the Customer Data Platforms Institute. So if you don't like it, please don't beat me up about it. I'm not making this up, okay? So a customer data platform is defined as a packaged software that creates a persistent, unified customer database that is accessible to other systems. Now let's take a second to break that down a bit more. Still adhering to how the CDP Institute defines things, they refer to a CDP as packaged software. This means the CDP is a pre-built system that is configured to meet the needs of each client. Although it isn't defined as a custom software, very few implementations and configurations are identical. The implementation and adoption of a system such as this should never be classified as cookie cutter and requires a level of technical skill to set up and maintain. However, as technical and complicated as it may sound, a good CDP is generally designed to be managed and operated by business users. A CDP creates a persistent unified customer database. The CDP creates a comprehensive view of each customer by capturing data from multiple systems, linking information related to the same customer, and storing the information to track behavior over the lifetime of the customer. The CDP contains personal identifiers used to target marketing messages and track individual level marketing results. A CDP makes data accessible to other systems. Data stored in the CDP can be used by other systems for analysis and to manage customer interactions and provide relevant information to other business units. With that said, many systems give you the idea or insight, give you data or insight, but a CDP actually connects the dots between two systems, allowing them to work together without human interaction. Information is not that useful if it's only available on some dashboard or a report that's accessible behind a unique login. In a perfect world, sales and marketing no longer have to meet to discuss the upcoming promotion and coordinate on what audiences will get which variation of the promotional message. The idea is that the CDP takes the sales promo data as an input, picks the appropriate customers and audiences, and feeds that to your marketing automation software behind the scenes. Customer data platform software is more than a database to store customer information. It can analyze and segment customer profiles using rules or machine learning, perform predictive scoring, as well as provide journey orchestration. Some customer data platforms enable machine learning and artificial intelligence for advanced predictive analytics. Plus, CDPs make it possible to visualize data through other BI tools with seamless integration. Now that we've talked a little bit about what a CDP is or how it can be defined, let's talk about how we got here. If you've been in this space for a while, you will notice an evolution from the traditional CRM to a DMP to the new CDP offerings available in the marketplace. To give you a bit of history, the beginnings of CRMs as we know it started in the 1980s and grew in popularity into the 90s as tools and features were developed. The rise of the internet and digital advertising opened the door for DMPs, which is generally defined as a cookie-based anonymous audience and segmentation solution, mainly to support advertising and retargeting. The newest member of this trio would be the CDP, which focuses on creating a unified customer view and becoming the single source of truth and sharing that profile with the ecosystem, including your CRM, digital advertising tools, and other necessary parts of your marketing technology stack. Taking a look at the timeline here on the screen, if I could, there would be another dot here added towards the end of the line near the 2020s, and I would label that the latest and greatest development in the CDP landscape, which is defined as the Smart Hub CDP. Let's see what separates a Smart Hub CDP from the rest. Here, we have a visual representation of the key capabilities of the Sitecore CDP Smart Hub. To start, on the upper left-hand side, we have the CDP and its basic features of data management and unification, which we've previously discussed. The Smart capability manages decisioning. It takes data about the individuals who are interacting with a product or site and figures out what's the next best action, experience, or recommended offer to push towards this person or segment depending on their scenario. Often, you will see experimentation and optimization built into smart CDPs to enable marketing teams, e-commerce teams, and digital teams to experiment with conversion rate optimization or a new feature rollout. You will also see predictive insights or AI, artificial intelligence, that's built into some of these platforms. The Hub capability drives personalization, engagement, and orchestration, deciding how to use the data and intelligence ingested by the platform to surprise and delight the customers at the right time with meaningful offers and experiences via the website, mobile app, social media, or email. Now, over the last decade or so, Many existing platforms such as CRMs, marketing automation tools, and even tag managers have begun to offer audience segmentation, unification, and some sort of profile sharing capabilities, to name a few. However, enterprise solutions are likely going to require something purpose built that can handle the sophistication and integration needed by most firms to keep up with the competition. There's a chance they're ultimately going to use at least two, if not all three platforms to some degree in your marketing technology stack. A quick way to differentiate between the main function of each of these is to consider the CRM to be the main source of your customer and account data. The DMP gives you access to anonymous third-party data and digital advertising opportunities to audiences you don't know. And the CDP monitors all website activity and customer engagement while sharing a unified customer profile to the rest of your marketing technology stack. So, how do we recommend one go about evaluating their CDP options? Well, I recommend you start by considering a few things. Number one, where are you in terms of your level of sophistication and maturity? I assume most of you on this call will consider yourselves to be multi, cross, or omni-channel. If you are a single channel type of business, the truth is that there isn't much for you to get out of a CDP or enterprise level solution. However, the more touch points that exist on your typical customer journey and the longer the sales process is, the more opportunities that exist to create that immersive and nurturing brand experience. Next, my recommendation is to consider three things. What is a necessity for your business? What engagement opportunities are available to your customer? And what are your capabilities? So we're going to take a closer look at each one of these, but to make things a little bit easier, let's all pretend that we manage a major hotel brand that operates in different countries across the globe and has a wide range of offerings to its customers. Customers have a varying level of need and wants that can range from a budget and family friendly consumer type to the ultra luxurious and exclusive clientele. Okay. So when I say necessity, I'm referring to the things that are imperative for you to stay competitive and provide an excellent customer experience. You can also lump your business goals and major objectives into this necessity area. So, running this brand, you may say it's a necessity for us to have retargeting, a way to authenticate users on our website or digital properties, dynamic personalized experiences, automatic service and product recommendations, marketing automation, trigger-based campaigns, A/B testing, and so on. Those are all things that you may think are a necessity for you. Next, what are your engagement opportunities? Once again, running a global brand, you may have the desire for an integrated brand experience from digital properties, including website, mobile app, email, to the in-person hotel experience and consistency through follow-up communication and customer service touchpoints. Imagine calling your cell phone service carrier, and as soon as someone answers the phone, they know who you are, what service you have, the type of device you're using, and your current account status. The same thing when you call the hotel front desk, they should be able to pick out things like, your length of your stay, the hotel you're in, whether or not you're checked in or checked out, the status of who you are. Last but not least, are capabilities. And this is a complicated one because you need to consider the capabilities of your solution along with the capabilities of your staff and existing marketing technology stack. The CDP you select should provide out-of-the-box integrations to commonly used systems, which include marketing automation platforms, databases, data warehouses or data lakes, CRMs, web analytics, including Google, Adobe, and some of the more popular ones out there, e-commerce, social media, data management platforms, advertising, Internet of Things, and sensor data, and business intelligence platforms. In addition, do you have an experienced and robust enough staff to handle integration and management after the initial implementation and setup? Research by the CDP Institute showed that personalization, insights, and cross-channel management rank as the most popular benefits for unified customer data? Well, usable insights and cross-channel management is not possible without a group of people from different teams who are dedicated to working together. A short list of team members may include people from a BI team, IT, your marketing team, analysts, and content managers, just to name a few. To get the most out of any implementation, it will require a team of people to execute in a way that will deliver for your organization, especially if you're using a CDP or any tool for that matter to power personalization. No website or system stays the same forever. CMS systems update, legacy systems eventually become a liability and end up being replaced. Web design is a never ending process. You have to be prepared to handle these things 12 months down the road and ensure as little downtime as possible. And with that said, I think one of the things that we want to touch base on, and Sam is going to touch on this in just a second, is ways to ensure, especially if you're a Sitecore user, ways to ensure that, if you're considering a Sitecore CDP, there are definitely some advantages that you have coming your way.
Yeah, so thanks, Dalton. So Sitecore CDP is a newer product. And so I did want to share some of the reasons why clients select Sitecore CDP. So there are a lot of choices in the marketplace, and there are many CDP solutions available. But as we've mentioned at Excentium, we really like and recommend Sitecore CDP for a few key reasons. The main reason and the biggest benefit for organizations to choose Sitecore CDP is consolidation. So within the same platform, we have, your data and reporting and segmentation and marketing functions, and it has the ability to drive personalization all from the same platform. And that ability to leverage machine learning and personalize from that one platform is the key differentiator here. Many CDPs don't have the ability to personalize. And so when you think about selecting that CDP, it is a big benefit for Sitecore to have it all under one umbrella. It helps to mitigate risk, and it makes adoption and implementation a lot smoother. With the Sitecore CDP, as I mentioned, there is the capability to leverage machine learning in the platform to both predict as well as drive those personalization scenarios. If you're already familiar with Sitecore, you'll know that this open APIs bullet is sort of a no-brainer with Sitecore. It is a platform that is well known in the industries for its ease of integration, which of course is key here when you think about the functionality and the need behind a CDP. And when we talk about personalization, we are talking about real-time, one-to-one personalization being driven from that same platform. It is a scalable SaaS solution. And so with that SaaS platform, it means that you don't have to be concerned about building in upgrades into your timelines and building in those costs. And you also have constant performance monitoring going on as well. A practical benefit of the platform with having both CDP and personalization in that same platform is that you would be working with a single vendor. So a single solution, one vendor to set this up and to drive that implementation, which of course, from a business perspective, smooths communication and management needs around the project.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for those helpful tidbits. Those are extremely helpful for those who are especially already on part of the Sitecore ecosystem. Switching gears a little bit, I want to cover some of the common misconceptions around CDPs. A popular one is that CDPs are all the same, and the truth is, no, they're not. They don't all ingest the same types of data. They don't process data and conduct unification the same. They aren't all widely compatible or allow for integration easily. So don't assume because one operates or has certain features, the rest will operate the same or contain those features. A CDP is just like a data lake or data warehouse. Now, a CDP may ingest data from a lake or warehouse, but a warehouse isn't designed to clean and unify data, and it won't power personalized experiences on its own. Implementing a CDP involves replacement of our marketing automation or visualization software. That is not true. Depending on the vendor that you choose to partner with, it may be the case that the vendor has already have a full suite of products. However, one key feature to consider is the integration and implementation capabilities of your CDP. A good CDP will allow you to continue using most, if not all, of your existing automation and visualization platforms. And as mentioned previously with Sitecore, Sitecore is known for its ease of integration and compatibility. CDPs are known for handling only personally identifiable first-party data. A good CDP can handle zero-party data, first, second, and third-party data. Now, I know the term zero-party data may be a new term for some of us, and so just to take a second to give a basic explanation, zero-party data is data that which a customer or consumer intentionally and proactively shares with a brand. So, a simple example can be when you're on a website and you select a specific zip code or store location to shop from. Or let's say if you're looking for clothes, you're looking for clothes in a specific size or color. Or if let's say you're booking travel arrangements, the date and location of your destination can be considered zero-party data. This is data that a CDP can definitely ingest, handle, and take action off of as users interact with different parts of your digital properties. A CDP is a marketer managed and marketer only system. This is also not true. If done thoughtfully, there are a number of teams and business units outside of marketing that can benefit from a CDP. Now, two of the most common uses for CDPs are personalized customer experiences and targeted advertising. However, a CDP also makes customer data available to teams across an organization, allowing optimization of various business processes. Finance, IT, sales, and data scientists, to name a few, have viable use cases for a CDP. Some of the more popular use cases surround customer lifetime value and ROI calculations and measurements, which will be led by the finance team, customer service and support, product development, prospecting, and sales, just to name a few. So CDP just isn't a toy for marketers. It has the potential to bring insight to different areas of the business if done thoughtfully. As such, it is imperative that different departments get a seat at the table early in the discussions to make sure their voice and perspective is heard. Getting the right stakeholders and business units involved early and form a group of champions who have vested interest in the CDP and what it can do for you. Think about what business units are important to implementation and execution and what role they will play. For example, someone from the executive team, they're going to provide long-term direction. The finance team, they're going to come with revenue goals and acquisition cost restraints. Sales department, they're going to define the product and the promotion. IT, they're mostly concerned with implementation, scalability, stability, and security. And marketing, they're going to control communication and most likely execution within the CDP. So as you can see, this is much bigger than a few marketing initiatives, and it's important to have great team and project management to keep everyone involved. And, as I like to say, help herd the cats. So I'm gonna turn it over. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Dalton. So really quickly, there is one thing that I would add to this slide, and as you note, there are some really key stakeholder groups here whose needs need to be considered for that CDP implementation. And the thing that I don't want to miss is that in our experience, the key to the success of a CDP implementation is really having excellent project management within your organization around this. It's really imperative to have someone who owns the whole project, who can understand the needs of all those stakeholder groups, as well as manage communication across those groups to make sure that expectations are aligned to ensure that everyone knows, where the project is at all times, and also to understand their piece of it within the context of the other organizational needs.
Thanks, Sam. And as mentioned, good management can avoid pitfalls that will slow momentum and cause you to lose executive support. So let's take a quick look at some of the common pitfalls you might face when selecting and implementing a CDP. And by understanding these pitfalls now, you have a better chance of avoiding them. At the very top of the list, which is one of the things that I think is probably most important and things that I've seen over my career, is lack of experienced leadership. And by that, what I mean is your product champion or champions should be someone or a team or an organization who knows what they're doing, preferably someone with CDP experience, or at the very least has been heavily involved in digital transformation projects. This, like many other digital transformation and implementation projects, takes a unique skill set. The best piece of advice I can give you is to choose your leadership wisely and invest in talented people. Many of the things on this list or any pitfalls can be avoided by hiring someone who's been there before and will foresee many of the common pitfalls. Next is choosing the wrong CDP for your company. There are different types of CDPs available, so it's critical you understand your requirements before you select one. One of the biggest pitfalls is selecting a smaller, simpler solution when you really need an enterprise solution. For companies with massive data volume, scalability of the CDP becomes a key factor, and some of the data models that don't scale well. In addition, enterprise solutions will provide more security, the ability to manage permissions, as well as ongoing support. Next, not defining the use cases you want to go after or the data sources you plan to use. It's critical to identify your data sources, key integrations, and the types of use cases the CDP needs to support. The data sources and use cases will give you a good idea of the amount of data the CDP will need to store and process, providing an indicator of the type of CDP you need. And also very important, it will define the level of effort or any potential custom connections or integrations required to connect to those data sources and actually make the system work. Not getting senior level sponsorship. I don't really think I need to say a lot here. I think most of us on the call really understands how that can derail any project. However, a CDP is cross-functional by nature. And when you deal with cross-functional platforms, you need to get the support of your executive team to ensure buy-in and collaboration from all departments and groups to make progress. Everyone has a day job, and their boss will have to be okay with them allocating time to this or any other project. So getting buy-in from the higher ups allows you to get better resources. Trying to solve everything at once. We've all heard the term boil the ocean. And so when you try to do everything at once, it rarely works out. Implement your CDP in phases. Connect your data from key data sources, unify it, then focus on your first and most important use cases. When you're ready, enrich the data with more information, add second and third party data sources, add additional use cases. The point is, take it slow, take it easy, and make sure everything is working as expected, and see the benefits from the start. Once you get a couple wins under your belt, it'll be easy for you to look up to the food chain, get more executive level support, more resources, and then tackle bigger fish. Not considering all necessary and potential integrations. This one goes back to why it's important to have strong leadership, experienced leadership, as well as a large group of stakeholders present to ensure that key integrations are not left out. You don't want to end up 3 months down the road and then you realize you can't connect to your email service without some custom integration that's going to cause delays, introduce risk, and delay the process. Having somebody who has been there before, having stakeholders from the different marketing teams, IT teams, different groups will help uncover some of these necessary and potential integrations so that you can help evaluate your solution to make sure that it works well within your current ecosystem. And last but not least, is confusing a CDP with a CRM or a DMP. A CDP is not a DMP, and a DMP is not a CRM. Even though you may be able to accomplish a few things with a CRM and a DMP if they offer the capabilities, you should know what you want to accomplish before settling and making that wrong investment. Your CRM system is the cornerstone of sales strategy and marketing campaign planning. Your DMP gathers second and third party data about your customers and allows you to further target your advertising. And lastly, CDPs, they produce overall behavioral portraits of your customers beyond their formal interactions with the organization by gathering offline and online data and drives personalization across your ecosystem. So in the end, all three platforms differ, but they also complement one another. Now, what I want to do is turn it back over to Jake and open the door for any available questions as we come close to the end.
Excellent. Nice job. This is great. All right. So the first question, going back to the comments about Sitecore, my organization is already on Sitecore Experience Platform. How is Sitecore CDP different from our current personalization capabilities?
I'll take that one, Jake. So for folks who are already using Sitecore XP, the first question that I would ask is, are you currently using XDB and personalization? And it really kind of depends, the answer to the question depends a bit on how mature your organization has gotten to be with that implementation. So the way I like to think of Sitecore CDP is that this is really just the natural evolution of the platform. So this is not to say that personalization and even advanced personalization with using, your third-party data within Sitecore, that's still possible. But with Sitecore CDP, it becomes a lot easier to drive. It requires less custom integration. And then it allows for, I would say a quicker time to market to get to those much more advanced functionalities.
Excellent. So there are a couple of variations on this next question. I'm going to pick the one, you did a really great job of explaining a bunch of potential challenges. What is the most common challenge we can prepare to face if we adopt a CDP?
I'll take that one. I would say the most common challenge you're going to face from a non-technical perspective is probably going to be buy-in from different groups. I would say, having a good product champion, which can work with the different groups and help them see how, their involvement, their work, and their contribution will help benefit the overall company as a whole, as well as their individual business units. So, for example, let's say you're talking to the email team or the team that manages your email or marketing automation, and they have to do some things to integrate their system to the CDP, and maybe they're not necessarily on board because they feel like there's nothing in it for them. Well, having a good explanation of the benefits of the CDP will help them be on board and help them be available for a resource whenever the time comes down the road. I would say, secondly, probably one of the biggest one is defining your use cases and data sources. In my past experience, especially implementing DMPs a number of years ago, one of the things that came about is as we went through this long process of implementation, testing, and executing, new business cases arose. The landscape changed, technology changes, and trying to adapt and keep up with those changes, needs, wants, and customer expectations proved to be, sort of challenging. And so having a good idea of all the things that you want to do upfront and having good buy-in are two things that I think you will go a long way in helping secure execution, good execution, I should say, as well as adoption and implementation.
Awesome. And then the last question is, can you talk a little bit more about how a CDP is different from a CRM?
Okay, sure. So let's start with a CRM. And as I mentioned before, your CRM, you should consider that to be the main source of truth when it comes to your account data and possibly your transaction data regarding your leads, accounts, or sales or what have you. While a CRM will start, most CRMs these days, the more popular ones, do offer the ability to connect to other systems, other parts of your marketing technology stack. Generally speaking, a CRM is purposely built, to store and house information about your leads and contacts. The CDP, on the other hand, is geared towards creating a unified profile that is then shared amongst other parts of your ecosystem. So if you imagine it in a perfect world, you will have a CRM, which will then feed data into a CDP. That CDP will then take that information from your CRM, combine it with data that it collects from your Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics. It will then add it to data that you purchase from second or third party data sources. It will connect to social media integration. It will connect to your paid search and your email account, email service provider. And it will basically bring in all of the data that it can from some of these instances and places, and then be able to create a story around this user. So for example, it will be able to say, hey, Dalton Allison became a lead on January 1st. He was sent an email on January 5th. He opened this email, visited this landing page, interacted with this paid search campaign. He's seen these pieces of data. He's posted this and tagged this related to our our LinkedIn or our Twitter post, and be able to provide all of these different pieces of data points around my journey. And then what you can do within the CDP is programmatically then state of all the individuals who interact with this particular email campaign, the next follow-up email will contain this derivative of that campaign, and all of that information will be powered and stored within your CDP. So hopefully that kind of explains a little bit of the difference between the purpose and the main function of a CRM versus a CDP.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, that is all the questions. Those are all the questions that we have. Thank you everyone for joining us today. If you have any additional questions, if anything comes up, please don't hesitate to contact me at jacob.damari@excentium.com. And as mentioned, we will be we made a recording of this, and we'll be publishing it on our YouTube page and sending a follow-up email with a link to that, so you can check it out again in the future or share it with your colleagues. So thanks, and have a great rest of your day.